Hi, it's me, Vicky Marie. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in this crazy world we're living in. So, in today's video, I'm going to talk a little bit more about Erin Patterson. Because do you know what? The more that's coming out about this woman since she's been found guilty, this is the picture of her alongside who I think she looks like, which is, it was it General Ragwork from Watership Down. I was talking about it in a video the other day. You know, you can see the resemblance, can't you? Just this awful woman, The more that we find out since the guilty verdict, of course, now the mainstream media, etc., they're unleashed, aren't they? You know, things are coming out that we couldn't know before as the trial, and quite rightly, that we couldn't know as the trial was going on. And things are coming out now about this woman, and none of it is good. And it's just reinforcing, you know, this image that I've always had of her, that she's just not a nice person. She's a horrible person. And she's now a triple murderer, a convicted triple murderer. And things that are coming out about her, she's going to just go down in history as one of the most evil women of all time, isn't she? You know, and again, like we always remember when we do these videos talking about Erin, these are the important people. These are the innocents. These are the nice, sort of church-going, regular people who just, you know, nothing remarkable, not geniuses like Erin thought she was, just normal people, nice people, family people, church-going people, helpful to Erin. And these are the people, she's killed 3 of them. And one of them has got to live with the trauma of what she'd done. So before we start, because I am going to be nasty about Erin, I just want us to remember why I'm being nasty about her. You know, we can't feel sorry for her. She planned the murder of these people, and she sat there and watched them eat every mouthful of the beef Wellington she prepared for them that was laced with death cap mushrooms, poisonous mushrooms. She knew they were going to die, or at the very least be severely ill. She watched them eat it. She sat with them. She talked to them. They prayed for her because she'd lied about having cancer to get them there. You know, we can't forget what this woman has done. We can't feel any sympathy for her. I certainly don't feel any sympathy for her. We can't feel bad about, you know, being nasty about her. These people are the people that matter. Look, there she is, all, oh, poor me, I love them. She didn't love them. She couldn't even remember their names or remember who died, who hadn't died. She was too busy trying to get her stories straight. So, yeah, since she's been found guilty, of course, we're finding out all sorts of things about Erin. No, I mean, we found out things during the trial. We found out about all her lies, lie after lie after lie, serial liar. But then we were supposed to believe what she's, or the jury, she expected the jury to believe that, yes, she told all those lies, but now she was telling the truth, didn't she? So we can never forget about how vile this woman is. So, you know, she deserves to be torn apart, if you like. She does. She deserves it. I have no, you know, she'll get her justice, not only in this life, but in the next. But you know what? I don't feel, you know, sometimes you do feel a bit of sympathy with people. But what sympathy can you feel for Erin? She killed people who had done nothing wrong to her except didn't treat her with the respect that she thought she was entitled to, because she killed them out of spite, out of I'll show you, how dare you ignore me, you know. And definitely 100%, this isn't the first time she's done something like this. So yeah, so it turns out that even in prison, you know, they put her in the kitchens. I mean, are they mad? You know, it's like somebody's, I mean, I know she wasn't convicted yet, because she's been in prison while she's been waiting for her court case, hasn't she? I know she wasn't convicted yet, but really, do you put someone in the kitchens when their charge is killing people with cooking them something? I mean, I'm like, duh, is it just me or what? What sort of, it's like, somebody who's, I don't know, convicted for killing someone with a hammer, putting them on woodworking duty. But of course, that has happened as well. Just think, what the hell is wrong with these prisons? These sort of prisoners, you don't put them in the kitchen. Don't put Erin Patterson in the kitchen, for God's sake. She should have been cleaning the toilets with a toothbrush. That's what she should have been doing. Crazy, isn't it? Just crazy. Anyway, before we look at all this, so apparently she's been having love letters. You get these crazies, don't you? Sort of, for some unknown reason, get attached to criminals, or you get the fanboys and girls, don't you? Like Brian Koberger, Stephen Stearns, Ted Bundy, all of these horrible people that people have, fallen in love with. Now, I wonder now if that friend of hers that turned up at the court case, is that where she met her? Was she one of these fangirls right into Erin, feeling sorry for her? How does she feel now that the guilty verdict has come out? If it's true, I mean, I don't know where she met Alison, but I'm sure there'll be something coming out sooner or later. Anyway, that's what we're going to talk about. So, yeah, allegations of food tampering while she was in prison. Love letters she's been getting. And complaining, apparently, it's coming out now, she's complained about every little thing while she's been in prison. Because Erin likes her creature comforts, doesn't she? As I said yesterday, some people that go to prison, maybe the prison life is better than the life they had outside, because maybe they were homeless, maybe they were drug addicts, maybe they had a miserable life and they couldn't make ends meet, etc. That's not the case for Erin, is it? Erin had a lovely life, comfortable life. She didn't think it was, of course. She moaned about everything then. She is a whinger. She's not happy with whatever she gets. She's not happy with the support that family gave her. Didn't matter. They could give her support. She would never, it would never be enough for her, would it? Nothing was enough ever for Erin. So you can imagine she ain't going to like prison, because she's used to living in that great big house, and having the freedom to do what she wants because she was financially comfortable. So, she never had to worry about money or anything. So she'll be having, although she don't have to worry about money, obviously, while she's in prison, but probably won't suit her in that sense. Though I still think Erin will find someone to manipulate. Erin is a manipulator. People like that, like Myra Hindley, like lots of different prisoners, if they're manipulative, they will always find someone to manipulate. Might be a prison guard. Myra Hindley manipulated a prison guard, and they arranged an escape plot. You can't underestimate how good these manipulators are. Oh, I've got a video coming out soon about the one that got away as far as the Moors murderers were concerned. Anyway, that's a whole nother subject, so I'm not going to talk about that now. Okay, so before we start, hello, lovely lurkers. Thank you for lurking. Hello to replay crew. Thank you for watching. Kisses to all of you. And I'm going to come in the chat in a minute and say hello to those of you who are brave enough to venture into the chat. So first of all, I want to say my thank yous. As it says on the banner at the bottom, look, yellow nail varnish, so yellow banner. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you to all of you. Oh, the messages I've had this week, they're so lovely. Thank you. Emails, I've had almost too many emails, and I just want to let people know if I haven't answered you or I've taken a while to come back to you. That's why I've been a bit overwhelmed with emails this week, but I'm not complaining. I like it when you reach out to me with all sorts of things. There's all sorts of things that come to me through emails. Sometimes you're having a rant about things that are going on in your life. Sometimes you're giving me links about cases that might be interesting. Sometimes you're giving me links to about cases that we're covering, or just saying nice things to me. So it's lovely. Thank you so much. And I always will get back to it. Just sometimes it takes a little while. What else do I want to say? Thank you to thank you to those of you who bought me a Ko-fi, sent a super sticker, and a special thank you, as always, to my members. So last night we had our members live. If you're wondering about membership, please become a member if you can. The membership's building and building. Thank you. I appreciate it so much. It's a little bit of an extra way you can support my channel. Also, of course, you get to use the members emojis. We get a members live once a week, every week. Even when, as it's now into summer and it's like, I may be doing less lives now, generally on the channel, but I will always do members live every Thursday. Or if I can't manage it on the Thursday for whatever reason, sometimes I get calamities. They always seem to happen on a Thursday. But the members, we do it one way or another. And I think the members' lives are especially lovely because they're much more personalised. I can chat individually to people. We can talk about things more in depth. We talk about all sorts of things. Sometimes we talk about true crime, but not always. Last night we talked about ghosts. For me, I found that really interesting because I'm always interested in ghost stories. Oh God, I probably just rubbed all my eye makeup off, but never mind. I find ghost stories very interesting. That's just me. We talk about UFOs, or that weird new name they call it. We talk about all sorts of things, and it's much more intimate, isn't it? It's like a more intimate chat on the members' lives. So if you can and you'd like to, please become a member. What else? I think that's it, isn't it? I'm coming into the chat now. Let me take the banner off. There's quite a few of you here chatting already. A lot of people are very interested, of course, in Erin's case. And even now that trial just seems like a dream now, doesn't it? Or like a nightmare. God knows how the people that are actually involved in it, like Ian and Erin's family, etc., how they feel about it. It's like the aftermath now, isn't it, of going through it all and all the new things that are coming out. And you can bet every day there'll be new things coming out about Erin Patterson because she's a bad person. But anyway, okay, let me say hello to everybody. Let me just go up to the top. Oh, there's a lot of you there, a lot of chatting. Hi, Lily Paulie. Hi, sheep farming. Thank you. You always say such nice things. Hi, David. Hi, Maria. Yeah, she is going to fit in nicely in jail. Oh my God. It just, and of course the sentencing hearings will start soon. And then I think it'd be August before we get a sentence, but it's going to be forever, isn't it? Or it should be. Hi, Bluebell. Hi, Lana. Hi, Jane. Yeah, she'd be up there with the high-profile prisoners. Yeah, she's already probably got a bit of a reputation, isn't she? Because she's quite an aggressive person. Yeah, I do agree with Sheep Farmer there because there's a hierarchy in prison, isn't there? And I personally think, she'll get stick from some of the prisoners, of course she will. But as far as the hierarchy is concerned, she's got money for a start. I know that can irritate people, but it can also make friends, can't it? If there's people there maybe giving her a hard time, she can sort of buy them a little bit, can't she? Because a lot of people in that prison need money. they will need money. They won't have any because most of the people probably in that prison are from, lower socio-economic groups or whatever they call them. They probably not come from poorer backgrounds, etc. And there's her money bags, multimillionaire Erin there. So she will be able to buy favors and things like that. And, I think she can stick up for herself anyway, Erin. I don't think she'll be a shrinking violet. But yeah, she will get stick from some prisoners, but then will she be able to get other prisoners to defend her as well? That's another thing that happens. I mean, it's very interesting, isn't it? The psychology of prison. I mean, I don't know really what it's like. I've never been in prison. If there's anyone out there who's been in prison and would like to talk to me about it, do a live about it, I'd love to know because, I don't really understand the psychology of prison because I've not been in there. Hopefully I'll never go into prison. But do you know what? Never say never. You never know, do you, what's going to happen in your life. It won't be for murdering 3 vulnerable people like that. I can tell you that, an attempted murder on a 4th. But I'm not saying, there's all sorts of things you can go to prison for, and I'm not an angel. So, maybe one day, I don't know. I just don't know. I feel like I'll be worrying every night and everything. What's Vicky done? But I haven't done anything. But, you just don't know, do you? You don't know in life what you might be, what might happen in the future. But one thing I do know is I'm not going to cook beef Wellingtons and poison for vulnerable relatives who've done nothing but goodness to me. So, got sidetracked there, didn't I? Alana, hi. I think I said hello to her. Hi, Angel. Did I say hello to David? I think I did. I don't know who Judy Marantna is, so I will look for that. You're welcome, Jane. Thank you for watching, of course. Who is that? Somebody. I said hello to Maria, I think. Yeah, and you know what, Alana? The more I think about that, the more I think that's true. Because I couldn't understand why Erin would choose Morwell when she had the opportunity of choosing the Supreme Court, which would have been quicker, apparently, and there was benefits for her to choose the Supreme Court. And yeah, I think she could manipulate the jury in Morwell, just like she manipulated Simon's family, the Patterson family, just like she manipulated her victims. She thought they would believe her because, they want to believe, they're nice people. I'm not saying people in Melbourne aren't nice, but they're city people, aren't they? They're different type of person, maybe a little bit more cynical, maybe a little bit more likely to doubt her. She wanted these innocent. It's almost like she thought they'd be sort of like hillbillies and wouldn't believe. It's hard to. At the end of the day, it's hard to accept that a 50-year-old mother of 2 who'd had this vanilla life, they're saying she had it, we know that she didn't, that she has got things in her past that are a bit dodgy. But, it's hard to accept that they would do this. So the fact that they found her guilty backfired on her. Yeah, David, this new pal that's come out, is it somebody who wrote to her while she was in prison, I wonder? Yeah. Sorry, lots of chatting going on, which is good. Yeah, that's terrible. Dr. Webster, he's the one that said he realised she was evil as soon as he met her, wasn't it? He shouldn't be accused. He's just giving his opinion. Anyway, she's been convicted. She's a convicted triple murderer. How many bad what bad things more can you say about her? Will you send me, Angel, will you send me a cake with a file in it? If I go to prison, you send me a cake with a file in it. Yeah. Exactly. He was right with his commentary. So yeah, so now things that are coming out now that the press can speak openly about Erin. I mean, it's unfair to spotlight that. I will look up that case, sheep farming Judy Moran. I don't know anything about it, but yeah, it's all coming out now. Is it? Everyone's saying bad things about Erin now. So why should the doctor be singled out? Because he's a doctor. Because he's a doctor, is he not allowed to have an opinion? It was partly thanks to his testimony and his instinct. He rang the police, didn't he? He was so instinctive. He rang the police because he couldn't understand why Erin would discharge herself when she'd just been told that she might have to have a transplant because this was so serious what had happened. And he couldn't understand why she didn't want her children. None of the the medical professionals that dealt with this case, they deserve medals because they seemed to care more about Erin's children than she did as well. They seemed to care more about Erin than she did. And it was because of them, and especially because of him and his instinct. When he rang the police to say, oh, this, this all seems a bit strange, that Erin was held accountable. So, it's terrible that he might lose his license. I hope he won't. I don't think he will. But anyway, let's hope so. Okay, let's have a look at a couple of things. We're going to look at this video first, I think. So it's now coming out about this, that she was I still cannot believe that she was put in the kitchen. It just seems ridiculous to me. But anyway, apparently she was. And then it turns out she's been accused of tampering with another inmate's food, possibly putting bleach or some cleaning product in it. Oh my God.
As we come back to you, we're going to return to our lead story on Erin Patterson's guilty verdict over the triple mushroom murders. Let's go live to 9's Mimi Becker at the maximum security prison where Erin is being taken. Mimi, Patterson is on the move.
She is, Pete. Erin Patterson left Morwell Police Station around an hour ago, and she is expected to arrive here at the maximum security prison at 7:30 tonight. Now, Patterson is very familiar with these facilities. She has been behind bars since November 2023. But tonight we can reveal in 9 News that Erin Patterson has been a cook at this prison, and she...
I mean, can you believe, honestly, I am absolutely gobsmacked that she was put in the kitchens. I mean, there must be a million places she could have been put. And the mushroom murder cook accused of killing her relatives by putting poisonous mushrooms in their food. Oh, you can imagine the conversation. Where are we going to put Erin Patterson? Where can we allocate her? What's she in for? Oh, she's in for cooking a beef Wellington to poison her relatives. Oh, let's put her in the kitchen. She must be a good cook. For fuck's sake, come on.
Also has been accused of tampering with other prisoners' food. While an investigation took place here at the prison, Erin Patterson was put in solitary confinement, but no further action has been taken. As I say, she is familiar with this prison, but tonight security guards will be keeping an extra close eye on her as she spends her first night behind bars as a convicted killer. Pete?
Mimi, thank you.
Yeah, now it may be that she didn't tamper with anybody's food. It may be that, as you're saying there, Alana, it might be that the inmate made a false allegation. But why even put her in the kitchen to create that sort of circumstance? It's obviously going to happen, isn't it? Put Erin Patterson in the kitchens and someone's going to say that she's tampered with their food. Yeah, Bluebell, maybe they were hoping to get rid of a few inmates, thinking, oh, yeah, maybe she'll poison a few and then we'll, it's full, this prison anyway. Just a joke. But it's true, she should never have been put in the kitchen. Now, it may be that she didn't poison this inmate or try to do anything, but they would, by putting her in the kitchen, they were setting that up, weren't they? They were sort of almost, that was obviously going to happen, wasn't it? It's obviously going to happen. There'll be some inmate with a twisted sense of humour, even if they weren't actually poisoned, is going to say, something was put in my food. Do you know what I'm saying? It just, if they wouldn't have put her in the kitchen in the first place, that situation would never have arisen, would it? So let's have a closer, let's watch this video first, because I don't know what this is. What's this? Oh, this is just when the news came through that she'd been convicted. We will watch this, I think. So, it's 12 minutes. Let's have a look.
Good afternoon and welcome to this special edition of Nine's Afternoon News. Erin Patterson is a convicted triple murderer, guilty of murdering 3 of the guests at that fateful mushroom lunch almost 2 years ago to the day, and guilty of the attempted murder of a 4th. The jury returning to a Morwell courtroom this afternoon after 7 days of deliberations to deliver their judgment. Amber Johnson has been following the case from day one. Amber, a huge moment when that verdict was read out.
Enormous, Brett. An absolutely history-making day here in Morwell. It's almost hard to believe that after all this time, mushroom cook Erin Patterson is now a convicted triple murderer and attempted murderer. You should have seen the scenes down here as soon as we received that notification from the Supreme Court, letting us know that the jury had reached its verdict. It really was quite extraordinary. Now learning that Erin Patterson has been found guilty on all counts. Now take a look at these photos, Brett. Exclusive pictures now. This is Erin Patterson in the back of the prison van that were taken during the trial. We haven't been able to show them until this moment. Extraordinary photos. She looks incredibly startled. We haven't really seen her in this state at all. But you know what's really interesting? When those guilty verdicts were finally read out, we didn't see really any emotion from Erin Patterson, which is interesting because, as you might remember, she was really quite teary and emotional at times. You might remember even that really teary interview she did just after that lunch when she was maintaining her innocence. But
look, she's never been teary, not that I've ever seen anyway. She was pretending to cry. Have you ever seen a tear rolling down Erin Patterson's face? And look at her here. This is when she went to see her lawyer. I think she just looks really cocky, really. She may have some sort of mental issue that she just can't feel empathy or whatever. She never looks like she's bothered about anything to me, to be honest. And they keep calling her fabulous mother and this, that and the other. Is she though? Is she? They keep saying how intelligent she is. Is she though? It's like, I don't know. Just Erin, to me, she just looks in her face. Her eyes are like shark's eyes. There's no emotion there, nothing, in my opinion. She just totally dissociated from reality.
When those guilty verdicts were read out, there were no tears. She was just blinking really furiously, and there was probably more emotion from her defence team, who just look absolutely...
Yeah, blinking furiously, thinking about what she can do next. Oh, God, those lies didn't work. All those first lies that are told did work, didn't they? Getting the family round for lunch and whatever, lying about having cancer, they worked. And then she told all those lies to the police. They didn't work because she didn't think the police were even going to investigate, it seems to me. And then all these lies she told the jury, they didn't work because the jury that she thought probably would be a bit like, naive or innocent and more likely to believe her in Morwell, she was wrong. So now she's blinking furiously. That's supposed to suggest thinking, isn't it? It's probably all computing going through her head. She's going to prison for the rest of her life. What can she say next in her appeal? What other lies can she tell that might get believed? I tell you, it's come to the end of the road, Erin. Even if you appeal, you're not going to get anywhere. You didn't have a defence. Let's not forget, let's just remind ourselves, although the prosecution called more than 50 witnesses, a combination of experts, family, friends, etc., hospital staff, the people that had to investigate where the mushrooms had come from, the Asian supermarkets, all those witnesses that the prosecution had, and Mr. Mandy, the defence lawyer, he called Erin. That was it. No friends, no family, no experts, nobody. Erin came on the dock. She spoke for 3 days. Now, I'd like to know if that was her idea or Mr. Mandy's idea. Who decided? I think it was probably Erin's idea. She thought she could talk around that jury. She's so used to manipulating sort of innocent people, if you like. People who are not bad thinkers, not cynical. She's done it for years. She's manipulated Simon. She's manipulated Simon's family. She's manipulated people she worked with, etc. She's just a manipulator, and she's done it for so long. She thought she could do it with this jury, and I think it may well have been her who chose to go on the stand. But I don't know, and I'd like to find out. So what's she going to appeal? How's she going to appeal unless she comes up with a brand new story? I'm just wondering if she's going to come up and say, yeah, it was me who foraged those mushrooms, but I didn't know they were death cap mushrooms. I would never have hurt my family. I love them. You know, is she going to come out with that shite now? Is she going to sort of say, I know, I lied, saying I got them from an Asian grocer, but now I'm telling the truth. I foraged them, and I was too scared to say that I foraged them because I thought I would get found guilty. But I'm telling the truth now, honest Injun. Honest, Your Honour. I told lie after lie after lie after lie, but now I'm telling the truth. I wouldn't be surprised if she comes out with that crap. You know, just so she's thinking about a way of trying to beat this rap, if you like. She's not, but it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
Absolutely defeated when that foreperson read out that Erin Patterson had been found guilty on all counts. So the jury finding that she did intend to kill her in-laws when she served them that beef Wellington lunch that was laced with death cap mushrooms on the 29th of July 2023. It has been extraordinary outside court with so much reaction. Take a listen here. This is Erin Patterson's defence barrister, Colin Mandy SC, moments after the verdict.
Are you expecting to appeal, Mr. Mandy?
Are we appealing this verdict?
So no word there from Erin Patterson's defence barrister, but as mentioned, he looked absolutely defeated in the courtroom. Whereas for the Crown prosecutor, Nanette Rogers SC, and the rest of the prosecution team, it's a huge win for them, a police investigation that has spanned.
He can't really have expected to have won that case, could he? Surely, I mean, I'm presuming he's an intelligent man if he's a bloody defence lawyer, but he can't really have thought he was ever going to win that case. I mean, there's always a chance, but he had no defence.
And almost 2 years. But do you know what's really interesting, Brett? Pastor Ian Wilkinson, for example, he attended almost every single day of the trial, including when he was a star witness in the case, but no sight of him down here today. We haven't seen any members of the Wilkinson family or even the Patterson family for that matter. Many of them did attend the trial every single day, which spanned 11 weeks, so a monster 11-week-long trial, but no one from the Patterson or Wilkinson families down here today to hear those verdicts. The only other person who was at the front of court was a friend of Erin Patterson. So really interestingly, Erin Patterson doesn't really have any family members left, but there is one loyal friend by the name of Ali who has
You hear what she said? She hasn't really got any family members left. I mean, for fuck's sake. You know, I tell you, those kids have been saved from this woman. I felt sorry for them at first, but now I think they've had a result. I really do, because do you know what? They could have been next on the list. She hasn't got any family members left. But she's got her sister. Having said that, where was her sister? Where's her sister supporting her? That says a lot, doesn't it? I bet a lot of people have been trying to contact her. This is her sister in 1996. She's a reputable geologist, isn't she? Yeah. Why wasn't she there to support her? There's someone else that I was going to talk. Oh, so this Ali person turned up that we'd never heard of before. Where did she meet this Alison? Is she one of these, people that have been writing to her, the love letters that we're going to look at in a minute? Not the actual love letters, but hear about. And in the meantime, these poor innocent people have got no life left. They may have been elderly. They weren't that elderly. So, they still could have had 20 years left. Erin took that away from them. And not only that, they loved Erin and the children. They tried to help her. Disgusting. It's like a double. This betrayal is even worse. It's bad enough to kill anyone, but to kill people who've done nothing but be nice to you. Disgusting.
Stood by her side throughout this whole process. She also had nothing to say outside court, but inside court, as soon as those verdicts were read out, she said to Erin Patterson, "I'll see you very soon, Brett."
And just quickly, what happens from here?
So, yeah, she did have a sister. She still has got a sister. This sister has just not commented at all. You've not seen anything about her in this whole thing. And I think Erin is jealous of that sister. So that sister, she's gone out. She's, there is if you look at the playlist, I do talk about her sister in one of the videos. I talk a lot about her. I showed quite a lot of videos about her. She's a respected geologist in her field. She's a university professor. I think Erin was jealous of her because she's like the good sister, if you like, and Erin was the evil sister. I think there's a lot of jealousy. I think Erin is consumed with jealousy and spite for anybody who doesn't go along with what she wants. And as I was saying yesterday, I think Erin, she moved to that community because she likes to be a big fish in a small pond. She couldn't do what her sister has done and become, reputable in her field. Erin likes to be around people that she can look down on. She doesn't want to be around people that might look down on her. That's what I think exactly about Erin. That's why she's never gone. People keep saying she's a bloody genius. She's not a genius. She thinks she's a genius. And she mixes with people. The people that meet her who are maybe a little bit more highbrow than her, that doctor instantly knew she was a psychopath. So Erin will hang around people who she can manipulate. That's what these psychopaths do. So more innocent, sort of not cynical. I'm not trying to say that they were thick, her family or anything. That's not what I'm trying to say. But they were naive. They trusted her. Most people who are a bit more savvy would not trust Erin, so she would avoid those kind of people like the plague. She would just stick around naive people, and that's why she wanted to be tried in Morwell, because she thought she'd get more naive people that would believe the shite that she was coming out with, and it backfired on her. And yeah, God knows what her sister makes of it all. And when they said earlier she's got no family left, well, what happened to her family? Honestly, just makes you wonder. They need to start looking back about any death in Erin's family, friends, etc., because this quite often happens. She's not beyond being underhand, so that, definitely wasn't her first rodeo. We think that she tried to kill her husband anyway, but I bet there's more.
It's a great question, Brett. So in terms of what happens now, Erin Patterson will be taken from the courthouse behind us here, very interestingly, actually in an underground tunnel, which is connected to the Morwell police station, which is where she has been held throughout the entirety of the trial. We haven't been able to report that up until this point. So she's been kept inside the cells there at the Morwell police station. Next, she'll be bundled into a prison van and transported to Victoria's maximum security prison for women, which which is the Dame Phyllis Frost Centre. So we expect that she'll be taken there this afternoon. And then what happens next in regards to the court hearings? We expect that in August there will be a plea hearing, and that is when we hear victim impact statements from people, including Pastor Ian Wilkinson and also Simon Patterson, about how these crimes have affected their lives. And then, of course, the proceedings will head towards sentence, with Erin Patterson now facing life behind bars after she was found guilty on all counts.
Amber Johnson, thank you. Crime reporter Gillian Lantouris has been following this case since the first guests became ill with mushroom poisoning and joins us now from Leongatha. Jill, what's been the reaction there today?
Absolutely. I think, Brett, it's a sigh of relief that this is finally over. I went to the church just a short time ago in Currumborough, where Ian Wilkinson is the pastor, and a member just said that she's relieved and they really want to rally around the family. They were watching the verdict live in the church there. I understand Ian wasn't there. He was with his family. But interestingly, they said that they do feel sorry for Erin as well. I mean, she was a member of their church, a member of that community for some time during the relationship.
You see, these are the sort of people they are, they feel sorry for Erin because they're church-going religious people. Their instinct is to feel sorry for people. I personally don't feel sorry for Erin. I think of myself as an empath, but my thoughts are all with the people that died. I really don't feel sorry for her. I think she's nasty, manipulative. I don't think she's like mentally ill in the sense of you think, oh, you should feel sorry for her. I think she would just say anything, like all this about her problems with body image and bulimia. I don't believe any of it. I honestly do not believe it, because this is something that she's saying. She's taking advantage of how people will feel sorry for people who've got bulimia or feel sorry for people with a bad body image. And then she was saying about how she didn't trust hospitals, but she wanted to be a nurse and a midwife. She'd just say anything. I don't believe a word that comes out of that woman's mouth, so I don't feel sorry for her. But I understand that this church community, they feel sorry for her, because that's the kind of person they are, people they are. Probably nicer people than I am.
Relationship with Simon Patterson. So I did think it was quite interesting. They said they feel sorry for her as opposed to saying they're angry with her or something like that. But the locals here in Leongatha, they are glad that, I guess, the media circus should die down soon. They really just want to remember and honour the people that have died. 3 people lost their lives, and of course Ian Wilkinson was pretty critically ill at that time. Brett, it's incredible to think that it's been 2 years since this deadly lunch happened in this home behind me. Of course, that just initially just brought up such a stir, so much interest in the case. We remember the time when the inspector, Dean Thomas of the homicide squad, said that Erin Patterson is a suspect because she was the one who served those meals, and from there it just took off. But I'll just give you a little listen to what a neighbour of Erin's has said. When you heard the verdict of guilty, what did you think?
I was quite shocked. It's been a long time for the kids and the families of the deceased and Erin having to wait in this time. But it's good that now they can just go on with their lives. A lot of my mates that are overseas and stuff are saying that they're seeing Leongatha on the news and interstate. So it's been a bit of a thing for the town to be on the map.
Brett, I'm at the home where this deadly lunch was served. It's now all tarped up. Of course, this was initially put up for privacy, as supporters of Erin put these black tarps up for privacy, which gave an indication they really thought she would walk free and be able to go home to this house back here in Leongatha. But that is not the case. She is not an alleged killer. She is now guilty of triple murder. Brett.
Gillian Lantouris in Leongatha, thank you. Joining me now at the desk is criminal lawyer Justin Quill. You've been involved in a huge amount of criminal trials. Your thoughts on where this one sits in not only Victorian but Australian legal history?
Well, I can say this. Often as my role talking about criminal matters in the media, that's really my involvement in criminal trials. I often get asked, whether it be at dinner parties, at the football, or even school drop-offs, I get asked about this case or that case. This case, the mushroom case, I've been asked about that more than any other case ever. I think it was the mystery in it that people were surprised about and had a view on, and everyone seemed to have a different view.
It did have shades of the Lindy Chamberlain trial where everyone had a view. In this case, though, you as a lawyer, you've noticed that there were quite a few unusual features of this case, even though it was a significant murder trial.
Yeah, well, look, I mean, I guess one obvious one was that it wasn't an issue that she cooked up the mushroom pie that killed 3 people and nearly killed a 4th person. That's unusual. Usually someone will say, no, I didn't do it. Here she was saying, yes, I did it, but I didn't mean to do it. Another unusual case is that one of the victims, or now we know intended victims, survived and came to court to give evidence. If you wrote a script for a movie like that, people would say it's too unrealistic. But the most unusual aspect of it is that she gave evidence. And I understand why she did. I'm sure she considered it very carefully with her legal team. I think she had no choice but to give evidence because there were a lot of things that she needed to explain away. And she gave evidence and, as far as I could see, held up pretty well in that evidence. And I think it went very, very close, and 7 days of deliberations would say very close to creating reasonable doubts in the minds of the jurors. But that's unusual, a defendant giving evidence.
Because the prosecution had an enormous burden on their shoulders, as prosecutions do, which is to prove a case based on circumstantial evidence. And as the defence was saying, there's a hole in this jigsaw puzzle, and that is motive.
Motive, yeah. And I found motive really interesting. At the start of the case, Nanette Rogers effectively said to the jury, look, we don't need to prove motive, so we're not going to. Just put it out of your mind. I would have been nervous about doing that because it's hard. Jurors are only human, and it might be that they'd still wonder about it. I think I would have argued, look, if she's guilty of what we say she is, she's not thinking logically or rationally like you members of the jury might think. So don't try and apply your logical, rational brain to it. And I would have thought that was a better way rather than just don't think about it. But it was a difficult task to prove the guilt of Erin Patterson without being able to point their finger.
There's our heroine, Nanette. She was brilliant. She was brilliant. I mean, she had a lot to go with, but the thing is, she had a lot of circumstantial evidence, but she brought it together brilliantly. And the thing that I think she was really brilliant with was when she exposed Erin for lying about not having a good memory, wasn't it? Because Erin just kept saying, oh, I don't really remember that. Oh, I can't really recollect that. Oh, well, it was a long time ago. All that bollocks, didn't she? And then I think Nanette did on purpose in one of her things say, oh, this happened on such and such a day, 23rd of April, 2022, let's say. And Erin jumped straight in and said, oh, no, that was a Friday, not a Wednesday or whatever. So it just exposed the fact that Erin's memory is spot on. She's got brilliant memory when it suits her. If I said to you, what day was it on the 22nd of April, 2022, you wouldn't know, would you? Unless it was your birthday or a special date. You'd have to look at a calendar. Erin was straight there. No, that was a Friday. You know, so she's so clever, this woman. So clever. You know, really, really good prosecutor.
It goes easily to motive.
Now, she's been convicted by a jury of her peers. 12 people have come to a unanimous verdict. But that isn't the end of the court process. There's still sentencing to come. What factors come into play now?
Yeah, well, look, we'll hear the sentencing hearing or the plea hearing will be heard in a few weeks' time, maybe a bit more than a month. And Justice Christopher Beale is the only person that matters now. The jury have gone home and they've done their service, and thanks very much from the public to them. So Justice Beale will hear from both defence and prosecution about the relevant factors. One thing that is going to be really interesting, his Honour now proceeds on the basis that basically everything that Erin Patterson said in the witness box was a lie.
Right.
So it's the opposite of showing remorse. It's one thing for a defendant to sit silently in the dock like most defendants do and let their legal team test the evidence. That is their right, and that doesn't necessarily show a lack of remorse. But here, we had her doubling down, tripling down, quadrupling down, really, by giving evidence day after day. And now we know day after day lying. And His Honour will take that into account. And I think we can see, not just because it's a triple murder and an attempted murder, we can see because of those lies, she is going to get a very serious sentence.
And we don't know yet whether her team is likely to try and appeal this, but that is a possibility.
It's definitely a possibility, and I suspect, although, Brett, you and I...
Yeah, they keep talking about, I think, what they're going to appeal. What's different? She might make them appeal because she might take it to Melbourne then or whatever. Think I might have a better chance in Melbourne. You know, of course, she's the defendant. She's, you know, the defence team. They're working for her. She'll tell them what to do. I'm sure she already sacked one defence team, and she brought in this new one, but she had no defence. I can't see how they're going to appeal it because I don't see on what grounds. Personally, how can she appeal? What has she got?
I don't know. I reckon they would. They've had 7 days to think. Obviously, not guilty took care of itself, so they would have had 7 days to think. If we hear the word guilty, what would our appeal grounds be? Because guilty wasn't going to change the appeal grounds. The appeal grounds will be found, if there are any, in the judge's charge and the conduct of the trial. And so they've had the ability over the last 7 days and a lot of time on their hands. They're up in Morwell. They couldn't come back from Morwell because they didn't know whether they were going to get 15 minutes notice or an hour and 15 minutes notice.
Exactly.
So they've been up in Morwell. I would be surprised if they haven't at least turned their minds to this and have a pretty fair idea. One thing I'd say is you normally expect Erin Patterson to appeal, but Erin Patterson hasn't done what we've expected all the way through, right from the interview out the front of her house to demanding that this trial occur in Morwell. Most of these sorts of trials would occur in Melbourne. She said, no, I wanted her in more. Yeah. And then, of course, giving evidence. They're 3 examples of her not doing what we expect. So who knows? She might decide she doesn't want to appeal and she's just going to cop it.
We will wait to see. Justin Quill, thanks for your time today.
Thanks, Brett.
Got a lawyer there, Justin Quill.
The jury in the mushroom murder trial have finished hearing the final.
Okay, so I'm going to go and get a drink and then I'm going to read you out because the next one is not a video, it's an article talking about these love letters that she's been getting. And I mean, come on. Now, of course, this is a phenomenon, isn't it? Not only with Erin Patterson, quite often murderers, mass murderers, even serial killers, they get these fanboys and girls writing to them in prison saying they're convinced they're innocent. You know, Ted Bundy was a prime case. His wife, Carol, who he married actually, because, you know, I don't know what you know about Ted Bundy, but to me, he's always fascinating because he was a serial killer. He represented himself. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if it comes to an appeal or whatever, that Erin represents herself. Like, you know, all these psychos do, don't they? Ted Bundy, Laurie Daybell, you know, that Rodney Alcala. They, you know, in the end, when they feel like they're not getting anywhere with their normal defence counsel, they think, oh, I know, I'm going to defend myself. I would not be surprised if Erin decided to do that. If she decided to do exactly what Laurie Daybell did. And it won't work, of course, but I wouldn't be surprised if she did it because she's that sort of psycho, isn't she? She's that far removed from reality, just nothing would surprise you, would it? What she did. But anyway, I'm just going to get another drink. I'm going to get some more ice. And then I'm going to read you out this article that tells about working in the kitchen, about the love letters she's had, the support she's had. So, yeah, people do this, don't they? They write letters to, you know, real twonks, real horrible people. Brian Koberger, Stefan Stearns, you know, and then look at Gypsy Rose Blanchard, who murdered her mum, and she got married twice, or got engaged twice while she was in prison. You know, it's just, what's wrong with these people? You know, I think I'm going to have to, you know, start doing that. Maybe I should write some famous murderer and see what response I get. I mean, it's just Levi Belfield. He got married in prison. Who would marry Levi Belfield? He murdered several girls, hitting them over the head with the hammer. He hates women. And some silly woman married him in prison. But he's got a whole life tariff. He's never coming out of prison. You don't get conjugal visits in the UK like you do in Spain, do you? You know, so why? I just don't get it. Do you know, I think some men and women, they've got commitment issues. So, you know, a lot of women, there's actually a website, isn't it, where you can write to people that are on death row in America, and they go and marry these people, but they're going to be executed. Now, if you've got commitment issues, that's a good idea, isn't it? Just go and marry them, you know, like, you know, they're never coming out of prison. They're going to be executed in prison, then you just marry another one, can't you? I mean, I just don't get it. Honestly, I don't get it. Why do they do it? Why do they do it? I don't know. They must have commitment issues. So do they go around, so, you know, like when they're out and about and chatting to people, they go, oh, are you married? You know, like people do. Oh, yeah. You know, oh, you know, maybe I'll meet your husband one day or your wife or whatever. Oh, no, because they're on death row. And they're going to be executed. But, you know, I love them and I think they're innocent or whatever. Imagine marrying Levi Belfield. I just cannot believe it. You are a fool if you're watching this. I mean, she won't be probably. But you are an absolute fool for marrying a horrible person like that who took all those young girls' lives. And you married him. What do you think now? That because he's converted to be a Muslim, apparently. He's a Muslim now, isn't he, in prison because they get better food or something, I don't know, and they get more, they have to go, you know, get more time to pray or whatever. A lot of prisoners convert to be Muslims. Just, they shouldn't be allowed to do that. They should have to keep the religion that they go into prison with. You know, if he's not Muslim, for God's sake. You know, it's just disgusting what prisoners are allowed to get up to. You know, once you go into prison, in my opinion, you lose all your rights. Especially someone like Levi Belfield, who's murdered many girls, young girls, has destroyed the lives, not only of those young girls, but their families. You know, how dare he have rights to get married or to convert to being a Muslim or that's disgusting. Sorry, I've started waffling, haven't I? I've gone off tangent. Anyway, I'll be back in about, you know, a couple of minutes. As you know, it takes me a bit longer than Erin Patterson to have a little quick bathroom break and get a drink. But it won't be 9 minutes, but it won't be 9 seconds. Hey, I'm back. I wasn't long, was I? Okay, I'm going to put the aircon on. It's a bit sultry today, 31 degrees. Okay, so let me just make sure you're all okay in chat. I think I saw Joanne there. Hi, Joanne. I don't think I missed anybody else coming in. Okay. Oh, Rupert Murdoch. Is he dying? Do you know, I know it's awful, but he's a horrible man, isn't he? It's hard to feel sorry for him, to be honest. I mean, I wouldn't wish cancer or whatever on anybody, but he's so just ruined the press, didn't he, in Britain and everything. Horrible person, but anyway. Horrible person. So it's difficult to feel sorry for him as well, isn't it? But, you know, I'd like to say I feel sorry for his family, but don't think his family very nice, are they? I don't know. I don't know enough about him, but I don't know enough about Rupert Murdoch. All I know is he ruined the press in the UK, dumbed down because, you know, all the UK has been dumbed down for years. Since when I was living in the UK 20 odd years ago, people were switched on, you know, a bit more like switched on to things that were going on. And then when the Murdoch enterprise, if you like, monopolized the press and sort of started manipulating people into thinking a certain way. Anyway, that's my opinion. I can't bear the Murdochs. Rupert, horrible man, horrible man, in my opinion. So anyway, I'm sorry if he's ill, just as I'd be sorry for any person who is ill. But, you know, he's not a person who's really that I'd have the most sympathy for, let's say. Well, Bradley Murdoch is dying from cancer, or Rupert Murdoch. Oh, Bradley Murdoch. Who is Bradley Murdoch? Is that his son or something? I don't know enough about them, but who is Bradley Murdoch then? Don't know who Bradley Murdoch is. We must be content with Bradley. I'll take it his family of Rupert's then, is he? Okay, so let's have a look at this article. Oh, there'll be all sorts that will come out as time goes on. So this is a thing called the pedestrian that I don't know. I just found it online. See, this face of Erin there to me is a face. She reminds me so much of someone I know who's very similar to her, Miss Moneybags. She actually looks like her, and she doesn't give a shit. And this person I know wouldn't give a shit either. Just all, you know, some people. To me, that's what I see in Erin, somebody who appears to be helpful. I think Erin would have been very helpful with Simon's family. Moneybags Erin, flashing her money around, using her money to exert control. That's what a lot of people do. You know, so it's like, oh, yeah, I'll help you with that. Oh, you know, and you think, oh, thank you, that's so kind. And then it bites you in the ass because they help you, but they want a lot for it. And when you don't give them the due sort of, I don't know, adulation that they expect, you could just see that in Erin's face. And she just reminds me of this person I know. I'd say she even looks like them. Anyway, so complaints, love letters and hecklers. More details of Erin Patterson's prison life emerge. So earlier this week, well, we don't have to go through that, I don't think. So the guilty verdict has delivered a flurry of information about the case, from never-before-seen footage of Patterson to images of the evidence used and accusations that she tampered with the food of a fellow prison inmate. Let's just have a look at that. So, yeah, Erin Patterson has been accused of tampering with prison food. In a twisted turn of events, it's been revealed that mushroom killer Erin was accused of tampering with prison food by another inmate. A fellow inmate who was held alongside her at the maximum security Dame Phyllis Frost Centre in Melbourne accused her of messing with prison food last year. According to sources who spoke with the publication, I still can't believe she was ever put in the kitchen. While waiting for a high-profile trial, she had a falling out with fellow prisoners before one inmate fell ill after ingesting a meal that was cooked in the same unit. And when the accusations were brought to light, she was transferred to a solitary confinement unit known as the Slot, as authorities investigated the claims. Per the publication, when inmates are placed in the Slot, they're in there more than 22 hours a day with barely any human contact. And Patterson's legal team has since denied the accusations and slammed them as baseless. Now, they may be baseless. The thing I'm saying is she should never have been put in the kitchen. She's was awaiting a high-profile trial for murdering or trying to murdering 3 people and trying to murder one other with poisoning from a meal she'd cooked. Why was she ever put in the kitchen? Crazy, isn't it? Just should never have happened. So, alongside the food tampering claims, sources alleged that the mushroom killer had acted completely entitled. That doesn't surprise me at all. I think there's few more entitled people than Erin. All the girls have issues with each other in there, the source claimed. The unit Erin was housed in was almost like a melting pot of tension, as they're confined to the middle of the jail and have to be escorted anywhere they go. So at the start of the trial, Colin Mandy claimed she was denied a doona and a pillow. Do you remember we looked at that yesterday? While held in custody at Morwell Police Station. They also claimed she didn't have access to her brief or any writing materials. Oh, diddums. However, a spokesperson for the Justice Department said there is no evidence to support there has been any contaminating food, and said that Patterson had never been able to dish up food for her fellow inmates. Okay, so let's just go back to the original article. So I don't know, you pay your money and take your... there will be a lot of things coming out that aren't necessarily true. Why has that gone on to that? I don't want to look at that. There will be things coming out that aren't necessarily true, of course, and, that's just the way it is. So, according to a guard, Patterson has gained a reputation for issuing complaint after complaint about the conditions of the prison. It's a prison, Erin. It's a prison. It's not a hotel, including the temperature. Who does that remind you of? Who was the other high-profile prisoner that complained about the temperature? It was Stefan Stearns, wasn't it? Stefan Stearns. He's another one who complained about his core temperature, as if anybody gives a shit, as if we're supposed to care about him. I hope Stefan Stearns is miserable every day of his life for what he did to Madeleine. But he's another one. He's getting letters from people. He's got these people supporting him. Apart from his family, which, you can understand why his parents support him, because they are his parents at the end of the day. He will always be their son, even though he's an evil shit. But, why do these people that don't even know him write to him? And why do they write to Erin? Anyway, So this prison guard said, it's not a hotel, it's a prison. Yes, she wasn't convicted yet, but it's still a prison. It's not meant to be customised for your comfort. And apparently it isn't only the guards who have been put off by Patterson, with reports that fellow inmates have been hostile towards her during her time in prison. I expect there's a bit of a mixture of feelings towards Erin. Erin was a constant target for heckling and shouts of shit like, have you got any mushrooms? It was pretty regular when she was first there, the guard said. Well, that's bound to happen, isn't it? On the opposing end, Patterson has apparently found some fans on the outside, with reports claiming she has received love letters. Love letters, come on, from true crime enthusiasts and internet obsessives. Well, I'll tell you what, I might be obsessed with true crime up to a point, but the thought of sending a love letter to someone who's killed 3 people and tried to kill another, honestly, I'm speechless. What is wrong with these people? So, some of whom reportedly showed up to some days of the trial. I think that's probably that Alison one, is it? Is that where she met Alison? You know, is that where do you think that Alison is one of these internet obsessives, as they describe him? So, SMH reported that Patterson was briefly a part of the prison's knitting circle. Knitting circle, for fuck's sake. Oh my God. But she had to leave the group. Do you know who that reminds me of? Because we talked about it a couple of weeks ago. What's her name? Rose West. Rose West in the UK. You know, the serial killer with her husband, Fred West. She's a knitter. She's knitting. Who's she knitting for? You know, who's this woman knitting for? What's she doing joining a knitting circle, for fuck's sake? So apparently she was briefly a part of the prison's knitting circle. Sorry, I shouldn't laugh, but do you know what? It's like I feel like I'm in a parallel universe. Erin Patterson in the kitchens and in part of the knitting circle. Having said that, what is she supposed to do? I don't know. I don't know. What would be a thing for her to do? I have absolutely no idea what would be a good thing for Erin Patterson to do. But the thought of her being part of the knitting circle just reminds me again of Rose West. So apparently she had to leave the group when she was put into isolation for an unknown reason that has stirred up much speculation. So while it's not known exactly why Patterson was transferred to solitary confinement, the Herald Sun reported earlier this week she'd quarrelled with an inmate who fell ill after ingesting food that was supposedly tampered with. So at the end of the day, if Erin Patterson is working in the kitchens, anytime that anyone's ill, they're going to say it's her fault, aren't they? You know, she should not, you know, that's just common sense. She's in prison for poisoning. It doesn't mean say necessarily she even did anything, but she's always going to get the blame for it, isn't she, because of what she's done? You know, and that's going to be even worse now that she's found guilty. Crackers. So, while Patterson's legal team denied the allegations, it was reported that last year she allegedly attempted to poison the fellow prisoner with cleaning products or rotten food, although there is no evidence to support the rumours. So there's going to be, these won't be the last things, will they, that are coming out. So the pre-sentencing hearing is August. Let's just, this was that video that was released. Let's have a look at it. Yeah. This poor lady trying to get her to stay, and she's like, no, I'm going. I've got to do my daughter's ballet bag. and have a lie down and put the lambs in. So they've obviously said to her, you've got to sign a form to go, and off she goes to hide evidence, doesn't she? This is pretty much batshit, isn't it? Batshit, what's the word? Batshit case, like they all are, aren't they? Oh, so Rose West knits for her grandkids. Oh, yeah, maybe. Maybe. Do you think, why would Rose, do you know, I'm just thinking if I was one of Rose, do her kids visit her? I don't know. I'll tell you what, if she knitted anything, if I was one of Rose West's children and had children and she was knitting for them, I would just send them back and tell her to stick them up her arse. If she murdered her own children, you know, the siblings of the other children, how could you even accept anything from that woman? I honestly just don't get that. She might be their mother. She's a killer. She's a murderer. I wouldn't, you know what? It would be like to put those, if that's true, I don't know that if that's true, Bluebell. I'm not saying that it isn't true. I don't know if it's true or not. But I could imagine things that she touched, putting them on your children. I would just unwrap, cut them all up, unravel them and send them back to her and tell her to fuck off. That's what I'd do with someone like Rose West. She killed her own children. You know, how could you even accept anything that she'd had her hands on and put it on your children? So, as I say, I don't know if that's true, but I couldn't do it. So there you go. Disgusting. Yeah, jumpers for homeless people, maybe. God, I don't know. I mean, of course, there's all sorts of different prisoners. You know, not all prisoners are in there for murdering people or killing their own children or doing this or doing that. You know, so, yeah, I think it's good to give prisoners something constructive to do. But someone like Erin, I don't know what I would give Erin to do. As I say, cleaning the toilets with a toothbrush. That's what I'd get Erin to do. I wouldn't give her any of those constructive things to do. It'd be just cleaning, you know, doing things that you know she wouldn't like. You know, anything to bring her down to size and not like, you know, how she thinks she's so special, more special than everybody else. For me, Erin, it'd be toothbrush, go and clean out that toilet block. That's what I would give Erin to do. I wouldn't give her anything positive to do. Thing is, someone like Erin, she's had all the positive chances in her life. She's had a life of privilege. She's not going into prison as a teenager who was brought up, dragged up maybe, you know, got involved in drugs, you know, any of those things that maybe sometimes people do go on the wrong track, don't they? Especially when they're young. This is not Erin. Erin, she's gone off on the wrong track herself. She's just nasty, evil. I won't give her anything positive. I won't give her a phone. I won't give her a computer. I won't even give her a book to read. Unless it was the Bible or something like that, you know, to try and get to change her ways. All that Erin should have to do is almost hard labour. I believe in that for people like Erin. She needs to suffer. She thinks she's suffered. She hasn't. She needs to suffer now. That's my opinion. Anyway. No, what? Because anything that gives Erin a chance to manipulate other people. You know, if she's in contact with other people, she's going to try and manipulate them. And she, you know, that alongside her financial situation, there will be people that she can manipulate in prison. She shouldn't be given the opportunity. You know, just, why should she? She's not in there to have a good time. She's in there to suffer for what she did to nice people, in my opinion. So sheep farming, do you know what it's like inside prison? I mean, what I'm saying is, I would like to talk to someone who's actually been in prison. Are you willing to talk about that? Have you been in prison? You know, I take it would be an Australian prison. Yeah. Anyway, let me know. Okay, I'm going. So I'm going to go and have lunch. Thank you for watching. I'm sure there'll be more to come out about Erin, you know, as time goes on. This, obviously, it's not finished yet, not even had her sentencing yet. Yeah, I hope she suffers in prison. I really do. I hope as we speak, she's cleaning the toilets with a toothbrush. Okay, thank you so much. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Let me put my banner on. Okay. Okay, sheep farmer. We'll organise that. I'll speak to you. Need to, perhaps if you contact me by email. And we'll do that. We'll do that, sheep farmer. Okay. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you, of course, for caring. Let's not forget Don, Gail, Heather and Ian. They're the important people. We've got justice for them, haven't we? And take care. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Let me put this on. Yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you really soon in the next video. And until then, as always, may your God go with you. Bye.